Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a top 5 video of the cards that I think are the best in Shining Legends. Now Shining Legends was just released. It is a set that features a lot of legendary Pokemon in their shiny versions. My first opinion of this set is that it's not very good. I don't think many of the cards are that impactful at all, but I think I'm just going to try to get a list. Well, I compiled a list of what I felt like were the best from what we had to choose from. I don't think this set is very impactful, to be honest. So let's get into it. First, we'll start with honorable mentions. So I wanted to mention Mewtwo GX. As we know, Mewtwo EX kicked off the return of EXs to the modern formats, and it was a game changer. Mewtwo GX, not so much. It has full burst, it does 30 damage times the amount of energy attached, super absorption, and Psy Strike GX. These are all attacks that generally are representative of Mewtwo in our trading card game. However, it's just not enough. Psychic weakness is something that you don't want to have right now with Garbodor running around, and I think Mewtwo at most will be a chase card for children. Then we have Shining Rayquaza, which I think in a different world would be a good card, but not currently. Could you imagine if this was out during the time of Ray Eels? 190 damage for 4 energy, discard 3 doesn't seem too bad. I just don't think Shining Rayquaza has the partner to go along with it that is going to allow it to attack consistently. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's that good. It is a non-EX attacker or GX attacker that hits for 190 damage, which is really notable, but being weak to Fairy is not something that is great right now, which is funny because Fairy usually is a pretty good weakness. Alright, so let's get into the top 5, starting off with Marshadow. Marshadow is a 70 HP basic Pokemon with the ability Let Loose. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may have each player shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 4 cards. Shadow Punch for 1 Psychic and 1 Colorless, that's 30 damage, it's not affected by resistance, weakness to Dark, resistance to Fighting, and a retreat cost of 1. I think Marshadow is pretty interesting. It is a functional reprint, more or less, of Let Loose Giratina, because both cards, let's be honest, you're only using them for the ability. And so with Giratina, you could really screw up your opponent's hand by playing it down, possibly even on the first turn after you've done your thing, and then disrupting your opponent. I think Marshadow might be interesting for this fact, that you could possibly play a Sycamore in your first turn, do some things, play Marshadow, and then let loose and cause your opponent to just start the game with 4 cards. That could be devastating in certain situations. So I definitely think Marshadow is something to look out for. If your deck can run it for disruptive purposes, I think it's something to definitely look into using. Other than that, once it hits the bench though, it is pretty much dead weight. Next Pokemon we're going to look at is Mew, Shining Mew. It has legendary guidance for a Psychic. You can search your deck for up to 2 energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. It has weakness to Psychic ×2 and no retreat cost. Also, this Shiny Mew has 30 HP. Now, Shiny Mew isn't going to be doing a lot for very long, being that it only has 30 HP, but what it can do is something that is very interesting, and I don't think any other card in the format actually can do aside from, I believe, Solgaleo GX. So what it can do is it can search your deck for 2 energy cards and attach them, and this could be any energy. So you can grab Rainbow Energy, you could grab Double Colorless Energy, you could grab the Strong Energy, you could basically grab whatever, again, you want. And I think this is very strong, being able to search your deck for Double Colorless and just attach them to your Pokemon, or Rainbow. And Rainbow, if you attach the Rainbow, it bypasses the clause on Rainbow because when you attach it from your hand. So I think that is also very interesting. Now, what would you want to use Mew with? That is the problem that this card kind of runs into. I think Drampa is something that is interesting that came to mind at first. Attaching 2 double colorless energy to your Drampa. Problem with Mew is that I think if it cost colorless to use legendary guidance, it would probably most likely definitely be used. I can see something like Xerneas decks wanting to throw one in there, but being that it cost a Psychic and it only has 30 HP, I don't know if it's going to be worth the investment. I don't know which deck is going to be able to utilize Mew, but let's just say that that attack is very strong and I could see it doing some major things in the future. Next Pokemon is Raichu GX. Raichu GX is a GX 210 HP lightning Pokemon. For 2 colors, it has powerful spark. This attack does 20 more damage times the amount of lightning energy attached to your Pokemon. Thunder for 2 lightning and a colorless does 160, and Raichu does 30 to itself. And Voltail GX for 120. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. It has a weakness to fighting ×2, resistance to metal, and retreat cost of 1. Now, Raichu GX is a card that a lot of people have been trying to make work, and I just don't know if Raichu is actually good enough. A lot of people have been trying to pair it with Magnezone, and I don't know if it's really worth it. So you can attach... Thanks, Daniel, for sending that notification. Anyways... and Justin for sending that notification. You can attach a double colorless and use powerful spark, but the problem is that Raichu only counts for electric energy, so therefore you can't really utilize double colorless to ramp. Thunder, though, I think is an interesting attack. Now that I look at Thunder, it can do 190 with the Choice Band, which knocks out most basic Pokemon. Of course, Raichu does do 30 to itself, but it can just reuse Thunder on the next turn. However, that requires 3 energy. Cards such as Gardevoir are going to have a very easy time knocking this out. Golisopod, also very easy time hitting that 210 after some damage has been dealt. Raichu really doesn't want to play with Potown, the format, and while it does have a good weakness, I just don't think it does enough. Voltail GX is really good, but GX attacks, you usually want them to help you to end the game, and I don't see Voltail GX really ending a game very much, especially with Acerola running around. And it can be annoying, but I don't think it's too much of a game ender unless it's late game and your opponent can't get out of the paralysis and then you take the last 2 cards on the next turn. But that doesn't sound very reliable with Acerola and Guzma running around. And another question I have to ask is, why not just play Xerneas over Raichu? I just don't see the point. So yeah, I definitely think that Raichu is not as good. Alright, so here we go with Zoroark. This is probably the most hyped card, and no, I did not put it at number 1. This is probably an upset for some of you guys. Zoroark GX has the ability Trade. Once during your turn, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. It has Righteous Beating, does 20 damage times the... for each of your Pokemon in play, which is interesting. And then Trickster GX. For 2 dark, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Zoroark GX has 210 HP. It is weak to fighting. It has a retreat cost of 2, resistance to psychic. Dark is actually a very good type in standard right now. The fighting Pokemon are few and far between. Psychic Pokemon are very popular, so I do like dark typing. However, I just don't think Zoroark does enough. We already have 2 Zoroarks in standard at the moment. Zoroark Break, which of course can evolve from the GX, and we have Zoroark with Mind Jack. And I think these 2 cards are very, very good. I think they're still standard playable, but I just don't think Zoroark on its own does enough. Mind Jack, again, Gardevoir is resistance to dark, and Gardevoir is one of the most popular Pokemon. I think Mind Jack, Foul Play, those are 2 attacks that go very, very well together. And Zoroark Break does Trickster GX more or less better than Trickster GX does, because I don't think you can copy GX attacks with Trickster after you flipped your counter. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But the thing about Zoroark is its ability Trade. A lot of people are liking this ability. Discard a card from your hand, draw 2 cards. While I think it's a very, very good ability in something like Expanded with Execute, I don't think it's that great in standard. If you're pairing it with something else, why not just use Octillery? Because a lot of people are saying, okay, well, you can play this in Gardevoir. Okay, I play this in Gardevoir over Octillery. I'm going to use Righteous Beating for at most, what, 120? Nothing in the format is necessarily weak to dark that I can think of that's relevant, and I'm never going to be able to use Trickster. So why trade, discard a resource when resources are very, very valuable in standard right now to draw 2 cards, and then put a GX on my bench that could possibly be worth 2 prizes. that my opponent can take, where I could just always have Octillery in play and then drop to 5. Plus, if I have to go down to 0, Octillery lets me see more cards. I just don't think Zoroark is a better choice. I think people just want Zoroark to be very, very good in Standard, and I don't see it as such. Again, I could be wrong. Now, in Expanded, though, I think Zoroark has some potential. Righteous Beating only maxes out at 120 in Standard, but in Expanded, you have Skyfield. So you can actually max out Righteous Beating to 180 with a band that becomes 210, which knocks out most things. And then you have Zoroark with Foul Play to also play around with. And then you also have the EVs who can give Zoroark different typing. So, and you have Execute, which, you know, if I have 2 Zoroark GX in play, I can just keep getting the Execute back and drawing cards. It sounds so much fun. So I do think it is actually a very, very good card in Expanded. Now, a card that I think is good in both Expanded and Standard is Hoopa. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I feel like Hoopa is the best card in the set. Hoopa is a 120 HP basic Pokemon with Scoundrel Guard. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX. It has Super Psybolt for a Dark, 2 double colorless, and 80 damage. It has a weakness of Fighting ×2, resistance to Psychic, and a retreat cost of 2. So I think Hoopa is the best card simply because it is a basic Pokemon that has a safeguard ability that gets around both GX and EX. And I think that is something we have not seen, and I think it's something that could be very, very impactful. Currently, we have Alola Ninetales. Carbink has seen play in the past. Alola Ninetales, however, is limited in the sense that it is a stage 1, and you usually want to use it in decks that can produce water energy, and that is not a lot of decks. A lot of people have been splashing Ninetales in decks that play Rainbow, but I think Hoopa is going to allow for that to happen more easily. It is a basic Pokemon. It has good typing for Expanded. You could throw this into your Darkrai deck and attack with it fairly easily, Yveltal, and it gets around a lot of things, okay? All effects of attacks, including damage, GX and EX. I think Hoopa is going to be splashing anything that can produce dark energy, both in Expanded and in Standard. And if you're playing the multi-energy, why not play Hoopa? I mean, come on, it seems like a no-brainer. Problem is that it is weak to, Gardevoir does resist it, but at the same time, you could attach a band to this, and it's hitting Gardevoir pretty hard. Plus, if you attach a band, it's two-shotting most EXs and or GXs in the format. I think Hoopa is going to be something that is slept on, and I think it's going to be something that causes a lot of headaches for a lot of players. So in my opinion, Hoopa is the best card in this set. Alright, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please excuse those notifications that I was getting. And tell me what you think about Shining Legends. Thanks for watching. Bye.